Today I'm going to be talking about our center point. This tool is designed to do all of your knockouts in 3 easy steps. Center point layout tool, laying out all your knockouts, 3 easy steps. Step 1, mark your strut line. In this case we got deep strut. We're going to go ahead and mark it across the top of the can. Right. Step 2, turn the tool over, mark the conduit combination, cross over the center line. Okay. Say we have a first conduit's a 4-inch, second conduit's a 4-inch, third conduit we're going from a 4-inch to a 2-inch, right? And then we're going from that 2-inch down to a 1/2 inch. Okay. Step 3, go back down here, turn the tool over, align those intersecting lines in the window. Then you'll notice the 1/2 through 4-inch holes again. Go ahead and mark your first 4-inch. There's the first center. There's your second 4-inch center to drill. Come down here to our 2-inch. There's our 2-inch center to drill. And there's our 1/2 inch center to drill. Okay. Now if you want to be really precise, you can come back down here again and align your center point tool along the edge here. This is going to give you the 4 points of your knockout tool. Okay, for your gear punch knockouts to line perfect on those 4 points. Then it won't matter what size hole you drill. You can always align those 4 points with your cup and cutter. Center point layout tool. The first thing that you're going to do is determine what size strut you're installing above or below your panel. Okay, after you've determined what size strut you're mounting over the top of your panel or underneath, you're going to go ahead and mark your strut line. That's step number 1. Okay, 1 5/8 all the way down to 5/8 inch. You'll notice that these are in 1/4 inch increments. This will take into account the 1/4 inch panel standoff that's on the back of the can. Okay, so if we were installing 1 5/8, we're going to go ahead and back it up 1/4 inch, and we're going to go ahead and mark our strut line across the top of our can. The line that we just made with the center point is the unistrut line. So that would basically be the same thing as if we took a piece of unistrut, laid it across the top of our panel, and because we backed up 1/4 inch on this, that's going to set your unistrut 1/4 inch hanging over the back of your can right here to allow for that 1/4 inch panel standoff that we talked about before. So it'd basically be the same thing as dropping this down, setting it right in there, measuring 1/4 inch back here, and then marking your line. Okay, so we've done that now. Now we have our unistrut line. That was step 1. After we're done with that, the center point is equipped with a ruler on the side of it. So basically the next thing that we're going to do is determine how far from the edge our first conduit is. And let's just say that it is 6 inches. We're going to lay this thing up here, and then we know that this is 6, so we're going to go ahead and mark that 6 inch right there. Okay, what that's going to allow us to do is that's going to be the center point of the back of our first conduit, which happens to be a 4-inch. So we'll go ahead and set that thing on there just like that. You can see that that's going to be the center point of our first knockout. Okay, then the next thing that we're going to do, which is step 2 on the tool, there's 2 spacings on the tool. Okay, there's tight spacing right here, which is 7/8, and that's going to give us 7/8 inches between our conduits. That's just enough room to get our Thomas and Betts bond bushings on. Or this side spacing right here, which is going to give us 1 1/8 inch between our conduits. Okay, a lot of people will use that because they use their unistrut. It's enough room between the conduits to use a unistrut strap to get in between your conduits. So we're going to go ahead now and lay out conduit spacing across the top of the can. Now that we've laid out the 6 inches to the center of the back of our conduit, like I was talking about, this has the 2 spacings, tight spacing and 1 1/8 inch spacing. In this application we're going to want 1 1/8 inch spacing. As I said before, this is going to lay out the center of the back of every one of your conduits, no matter what size to what size. Okay, so let's say our first conduit is a 4-inch. We're going to move on down here to our second conduit. That'll also be a 4-inch. 4-inch to 4-inch. Okay. Then we're going to move down here, and we're going from a 4-inch conduit all the way down to maybe one more 4-inch. Okay. And then moving down a little further, we're going from a 4-inch to a 2-inch conduit now. Okay. Like I said, doesn't matter whatever size you're doing to the next one. So 2-inch here down to another 2-inch. All right. And then from that last 2-inch, say we're going to have a couple of 3/4 inch pipes, 3/4, and then we're going from a 3/4 crossing over the center to your next 3/4. All right. So that's step 2, is just laying out the center of the back of every one of your conduits. It's going to align on that strut line. So that's step 2 on the center point. Now that we've laid out all of the conduits adjacent to each other, the next thing is we're going to do is mark the center point to drill each one of those knockouts. So you take this center point tool, step 3, position the intersecting lines in the window, okay? Because like I said, this is always going to be the back of your conduit, or where that unistrut is at the top of your panel. Okay, so this is always going to be the back. So step 1 or step 3 here, go ahead and mark your center of your first 4-inch. Move to your next 4-inch is right there, and then move to your third 4-inch, aligning in the window again. There's your 4-inch. Then we're moving down here. This one is our 2-inch, okay? And then this one is our 2-inch. And then this one is our 3/4. And then we have our 3/4. Okay. Now we just laid out all the centers of all these holes. Okay. In no time. All right, and that's going to give us the center point of which we can drill. All right, where the back of our conduit's going to end up perfect on the strut. But if you're using the our gear punch, the great thing that you can do with this is this tool here will give you the 4 points when you're using your center point and your gear punch in alignment with each other. Then we have these 2 inches right here. Okay, go ahead and mark it to the line right there. Line it up. Line this one up. And then of course you wouldn't need them on your 3-inch. There's the center point of every one of your knockouts. Okay. Now these 4 points right here will line up perfectly with the gear punch knockouts. Okay, one of the other great features that's on the center point tool here is a panel schedule. We put this on here for our apprentices or anybody that we're trying to teach what the corresponding branch circuit numbers are to what phase they're pulling out. So high voltage or low voltage, we have the A, B, and C with the corresponding branch circuitry right underneath it. So if an apprentice is pulling in a circuit 1, 3, and 5, he knows he only needs 1 neutral, right? If he's pulling in two out of this column, he knows that he needs 2 neutrals. Very cool thing. They can carry this around in their back pocket, run around when they're pulling wire or pulling home run circuits, whatever the case may be.